My man.
I like to say Sellchology only works on humans. It's not limited to the customer sitting across from me, the customer on the phone, or the customer on the keyboard at their house. It's just relationships. It's empathizing. It's anticipating what another person might think or feel, and putting myself in their position and saying, if I was them, I'd think this way.
Cool, but
if I was thinking this way, what would I want or expect from someone else?
Because I don't want to leave this.
Positioning your offer or
Can we get a
request
waitress
or
down
your
here,
process
please?
in anticipation and in empathy.
Somebody go find Taylor.
Or wait till the house is on fire and then run around like a crazy person trying to figure out how to pack all the suitcases and get out and then find a hotel.
Taylor's got my card.
More Red Bull than vodka.
Keep mine here so I can carry you back down.
I need a beer too. Oh, you get some?
I'm not getting some. That's my drink. But I don't know carry one because I hear mine.
So actually, I never sold cars retail in Minneapolis. I spent 10 years in Minneapolis, but I was running a beer. My car business career started in Kansas. So I got started in Peoria, Kansas, which is south of Kansas City, north of Wichita, a little bit of southeast of Topeka. There's a school there where my wife went to college for 2 years. She was getting her master's degree in psychology. And I moved my wife there to support her through her master's. I got in the car business to get a job to pay the bills while my wife graduated so that she could eventually use her master's degree to become my sugar mama. True story. I literally thought, I was ignorant. I didn't know anybody who had a master's degree. I just assumed if you had a master's degree that you made enough money that I could be like a stay-at-home watching Oprah guy and you could be my sugar mama. I wasn't kidding when I said I'm like the laziest person you've ever met. Like I literally worked every day in the beginning thinking one day she'll be my sugar mama. That's not what happened. So anyway, so I started selling cars in Peoria, Kansas. And actually, what I'm most proud of is my third month I sold 3 cars. Three, and I got fired. My third month when I sold 3 cars and I got fired was the best thing that God could have ever allowed to happen in my life. Because that day standing in the show.
Hey guys, can we move over just a hair? We need to get Glenn up here. He's got too much great wisdom to give us.
I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to go home to my wife, my newlywed bride, look her in the eyes and said, I failed you last month because I made no money and I was now unemployed. And so I put on my selling shoes in front of his office and I said, give me another chance. Give me another chance. Truth be told, all I really wanted at the time was I wanted my job back. So when I went across the street to the Ford store, I wouldn't be unemployed when employed. That was all I had in my heart. But I took that conversation. He said, yeah, at the end of the day, to prove me wrong, I left there. I went outside behind the dealership.
True story.
Standing behind that dealership, I had an argument with God. Why am I here? This place sucks. The customers are liars. The salespeople, co-workers are liars. My managers are liars. Why am I here? This place sucks.
Did somebody go get me?
As clear as I can say, I've ever heard the voice of God in my life. And if any of you have ever had an experience like this, you will understand what it means.
Light on the vodka.
But I heard God say to me, it's all your fault. How could that be? Are you even watching what's going on down here? Do you understand? There's no traffic, there's no training, there's no support. It's not my fault. It can't be. It's all your fault. There's no freaking way. How is it my fault that the salespeople here hate me? How is it my fault that I got a drunk as an owner, I got a bully as a manager, and a liar as another one? How is that my fault? It's all your fault. And on that third time that he said that, just like he said to Peter, feed my sheep, something changed in my heart. And I realized it was all my fault. That I had become a victim in my own mind and a victim in reality too. And that moment, I said to myself a solemn oath promise. I said, if you'll teach me how to do this in a way that honors you, that honors my customers, that honors my employer, and honors myself, so I have a clear conscience when I look my wife in the eyes, if you can teach me how to do that, I'll do it. Under that condition. And I'll be the #1 salesman at my dealership, the #1 in my town. I'll change the way people buy cars, if you'll show me how. The next day was a blur. I don't even remember it. But what I do remember is I went to my management and I said, we have to have some training here, something. He said, we have a set of training videos by a guy named Joe Bird. They're in the training room, which was the same as our break room, which was the same as our storage room. And I went and I sorted through like underneath the cupboard. I'm looking for these VHS tapes. and I found like tape 3 and tape 5 and tape 9. And I put it in, and it had a football game recorded over it. And I'm like, this is it. I started recording myself. I kept a journal. I went and bought a micro recorder from Walmart. I was the only salesman who wore a blazer at work.
You got 2 drinks.
Yeah, I just had a backup. I didn't know how long it would take.
And I would record the conversations.
getting
And then
one
when the
for my
customer
wife,
left,
too.
I put on my Sony Walkman headset and
hanging
I
out
write
with
down what
Tony's
they
wife.
said and what I said. And over the next couple of months, I made it to where I dethroned a guy who was salesman of the year for 13 years
Wow,
in a
that's
row
got
at the
too much
same
vodka.
store. When I left that store, my general manager, the owner who hired me, then fired me, then gave me a second chance. The general manager said, John, you sold more cars for list price than anybody else in the history of the store. You know, you had more referrals than anybody else. You took down guys who have been at the same store for 15 years. 4 years later, I had my training company active. That same owner hired me to come in to train at the same store.
Wow.
Where I got hired, fired, given a second chance, and I'm sitting across from the same salespeople that I sold against and beat, and they're taking notes. And one of them, Dan Hong, said to me, John, I watched you beat me, and my biggest regret is I never asked you how you were doing it.
Boom. Boom.
It was all my fault. If I could leave you with one thing, everything is your fault. All of your success, all of your failure, it's all your fault. Separate yourself from my management, my traffic, and my marketplace, and my inventory. It's all a big fat lie. You are the problem, and you are the solution. And if you can kind of own that, which is almost impossible to do because it takes a deep sense of humility and it takes a deep sense of personal accountability, and it's very hard to be honest with yourself and say, I am the reason I suck right now. It's very hard to do. Many of you did that when you made that investment to join the club. When you made that investment, you said, I'm owning this future decision. I'm making that mission. I'm going to make that decision because I'm going to decide what my future looks like. Whereas most people in the world can point with every finger in their hand at all the reasons why they're not succeeding. And it's all a lie. So,
Golly, Jonathan. All right. Thanks for feeding.